Hello, my name is Jake Elmslie, and here is my top 15 pre-combine 2016 NFL mock draft. Now, number one for the Tennessee Titans, I have them going for Joey Bosa. Now, a lot of them have them going for the offensive tackle Tunsil out of Ole Miss. However, while I can't see how their attitude with that wanting to get better protection for Marcus Mariota, I believe that a lot of the failure with top 5 tackles in the last 2 or 3 NFL drafts will, A, it will dissuade them, and B, the prospect of bringing in who is widely accepted to be the best talent in the draft onto their very, very bare defense will be too much for them to pass up. Now, at number 2, as we have the sun rising every day, we will have the Browns drafting a new quarterback. Now, my quarterback for the Browns, I believe, will be Jared Jeff out of California, but of course, it's subject to change with the way the combine and the post-combine processes go. But for now, I think Hugh Jackson will find Jared Jeff to be the best passer to fit his system. I believe he's the most intelligent passer, and I believe that the similarities he has with Andy Dalton, who of course you saw Hugh Jackson have incredible success with last regular season, will be enough to draw him to be brought to the Browns. Now, the Chargers will be ecstatic if Joey Bosa is a pick from the Titans, because that will mean they can get Laramie Tunsil from Ole Miss to become their new franchise left tackle, who will be great for protecting Phillip Rivers while they attempt to make one final run or two with the aging QB. Now, a lot of people have the Dallas Cowboys at number 4 drafting a QB, but I do not see any chance of that happening. I cannot possibly see Jerry Jones, when he has who he believes is a franchise QB, wanting to bring in a player who will sit on the bench and not bring in any ticket sales. So because of this, I believe that the pick for them, depending on how the Brandon Carr situation goes and how Orlando Scandrick's rehab comes along, I believe they're going to want to double dip on drafting a young defensive back in drafting Jalen Ramsey. A defensive back who showed a lot of versatility in his 4 years at Florida State, playing both cornerback and safety at a very high level. So I believe they'll be able to pair him with Byron Jones to make a tandem of very versatile young defensive backs. Now, at number 5, a lot of people have projected, if he falls to them, the Jaguars drafting Jalen Ramsey. However, I believe the best defensive back in this draft for the Jaguars at number 5 is Mackenzie Alexander out of Clemson. A lot of people like to knock him because he had a lack of statistical production, but that's only because of how feared he was as a lockdown corner. I looked this up earlier. According to Pro Football Focus, over the course of this season, Mackenzie Alexander led up 20 passes his way, led up only 280 total passing yards from QBs he faced. And I believe that, paired with Gus Bradley, who's trying to implement a similar defensive system to the one he had in Seattle, which counts on having a lockdown corner, cannot possibly pass up on the opportunity to bring a true lockdown corner to the Jaguars. Help him build up his defense the same way he's built up his offense, with young, talented talent. Now at number 6, I see the Ravens going for Ronnie Stanley, offensive tackle out of Notre Dame, who is probably the second best tackle in this draft after Treadwell. Now, after seeing what happened to Joe Flacco this year when his protection started to stumble and them losing him for the entire year, and essentially when you lose your franchise quarterback, you lose that season on top of all the other injuries they had, I believe that protecting Flacco will be their number 1 priority with this offseason. Now, at number 7, a lot of people like to link the 49ers to drafting a QB. However, based on a lot of comments Chip Kelly's made about how he does like Colin Kaepernick, how there have been reports coming out that whatever team he landed with, he would make an attempt to trade for Colin Kaepernick, I think that's enough to say that he believes in Colin Kaepernick. So, say what you will about Colin Kaepernick, I believe Kelly will try to ride out at least this year with him. And while a lot of people would also mean that the 49ers would be linked with DeForest Buckner, the D-end out of Oregon, because you pair Chip Kelly with the Oregon players, it's, once again, sun rises every day. But Chip Kelly not having the GM power in this organization, and rightfully so, after you saw the job he did with the Eagles last year, I believe that this will lead the 49ers, who have Anquan Bolden, who's 35 years old and somehow is still playing at the level he's playing at. I believe this will link to them drafting Laquan Treadwell, who is out of Ole Miss, who's considered the number 1 receiver in this draft. Now, at number 8, that will lead to the Dolphins, who I believe will, in attempting to really restock their secondary, which is starting to age with Brent Grimes turning 33 and them not really having much else in terms of cornerback, will lead to them drafting Vernon Hargreaves out of Florida. Now, I believe this is a solid pick for them, seeing as they have too much money invested along their front 7 to possibly put anything else there, especially, and this might even be doubly true after we see what they do with the Oliver Vernon situation, so I believe that restocking their cornerback position is the next big move for them to start making. Now at number 9, this leaves the Buccaneers to draft DeForest Buckner. the D end out of Oregon. And while a lot of people want to link them with a cornerback, since they do have a fairly barren secondary, as I said in this mock before, the top 3 defensive backs are already out of the draft at this point. Also, even if one of them was available, I do believe that they would prioritize going for a defensive lineman over a cornerback because A, they want somebody to pair with Gerald McCoy, the absolute game wrecker they have on the D line, to allow him to really flourish, and B, the defensive system they run there really makes it fairly easy on the cornerbacks. I believe that getting another young stud on their D line will be the best move for them. And finally, at number 10, I have the Giants drafting Miles Jack, the linebacker out of UCLA, who, while obviously had the injury at the beginning of the season that kept him out for the whole year, he displayed that he can be a very dynamic player who also has a very team-first attitude that the Giants will value when trying to rebuild their front seven and their entire defense in general. So I believe if he does need some time to rehab, the Giants will accept that and allow him the time he needs to flourish. So anyway, that is my top 10 pre-combine draft picks for the 2016 NFL Draft. Thank you.